Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and while you're at it, click the bell to be notified of future videos. This block is called Casablanca. It finishes 12 inches. Here's your diagram, and here are 4 blocks set block to block. This is also a part of the Stitch Pink 2020 quilt from Moda Fabrics, and you can download their pattern for Casablanca. There will be a link here. We have 4 patches, and all of the measurements are not normal at all. So unfortunately for AccuQuilt, there's only one patch that has an equivalent die for AccuQuilt. So let's start with patch A. Is a 3 1/4 inch finished half square triangle. We cut 3 5/8 inch squares. Cut them in half once on the diagonal for 2 patches. We'll need 8 patches of the light fabric and 8 patches of the dark fabric. Patch B is a 2 3/4 inch by 6 1/2 inch finished rectangle. We cut 7 inch by 3 1/4 inch rectangles, and we'll need 4 patches for the background fabric. Patch C is a 1 inch by 2 3/4 inch finished rectangle. We cut 3 1/4 inch by 1 1/2 inch rectangles, and we need 4 patches for the background fabric. And patch D is a 1 inch finished square. We cut 1 1/2 by 1 1/2 inch squares, and we need 1 square of the dark fabric. And here is the AccuQuilt die equivalent. I have the cutting instructions here, and they include for patch A, if you want to cut patches or if you want to make half square triangles 8 at a time, the instructions for those are here. In this demo, we're going to cut the squares larger, and then we're going to trim them down at the end because we're going to make 8 at a time half square triangles. Here are the fabrics. Here's the patch A fabrics, and it's the large squares. We're going to make 8 at a time half square triangles. And here is the D patch, which is the small square, and then we have the C patch, which are the small rectangles, and the B patch, which is the large rectangle. Once we piece these half square triangles, the whole block goes together really fast. So let's start with the half square triangles, 8 at a time. We'll take the light fabric, and on the back, we're going to draw some lines. First, we're going to draw diagonal lines across the diagonal in both of them. That's 2 lines. The next line will be a vertical line down the middle and a horizontal line down the middle. Since I cut this square larger, at the half of it is 3 3/4. So that's what you measure from the edge to the center when you draw your horizontal and vertical lines. Take these fabrics and put them right sides together. Match up all the sides. We're going to stitch 1/4 inch on each side of the diagonal lines. So you'll have 2 lines of stitching here. You turn it, and then you'll have 2 lines of stitching here. We've done our stitching on both sides of each diagonal line. Here's what it looks like from the back. Now we're going to cut every line that we drew. So it's 4 different lines, and we'll cut each line. Now we open them up, and we have our half square triangle. We're going to press these open and then trim them. Now we're going to trim these to 3 1/4 inches. So we just line up on the diagonal line, and then we want to make sure we have enough to trim here and up here. See, it's very small. And then look at the 3 1/4 inch on this side and down here to make sure you can trim. I'm going to move it just a little and trim these first 2. Now flip this or rotate it and match the diagonal line, the 3 1/4 and the 3 1/4. And then trim these 2. Now all of my half square triangles are trimmed. For step 2, we're going to take 4 of the half square triangles. We're going to take the small rectangles and the small square and piece the center unit. So I'm just looking at the diagram on the instructions to lay this block out, making it look just like the diagram. Okay, sew the top row together, the middle and the bottom, press your seams, and then sew the rows together. Now for step 3, we'll just put the block together. Put it on the prop-it board first. Put these rectangles around. And then our half square triangles. Now sew the top row together, the middle and the bottom. Press your seams and stitch the rows together. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and while you're at it, click the bell to be notified of future videos.